Welcome to Vox AI News. I'm Alice.
And I'm John. Today we have an exciting topic to dive into, a new method called DiffUHaul for object dragging in images.
Absolutely, John. This method is quite fascinating as it claims to be training-free and utilizes advanced spatial understanding from localized text-to-image models.
Right. To kick things off, can you explain what object dragging in images actually means?
Of course. Object dragging refers to the ability to seamlessly relocate an object within an image while maintaining the overall integrity of the scene. For example, if you have a picture of a cat sitting next to a rock, you could drag the cat to a different spot without distorting the image.
That sounds simple enough, but why is it such a challenging task for existing generative models?
Great question. Current methods often struggle with spatial reasoning. They can end up leaving traces of the original object in its previous location or fail to accurately preserve the background and other objects in the scene.
So, what makes DiffUHaul different from these existing methods?
DiffUHaul is unique because it leverages a localized text-to-image model's spatial understanding without requiring extensive training. It uses techniques like attention masking and self-attention sharing to improve the editing process.
Can you elaborate on the attention masking technique?
Sure, attention masking is applied during the denoising steps of the image generation process. It helps to disentangle the representations of different objects in the image, preventing interference from neighboring objects.
That's interesting. So how does this affect the overall performance of the object dragging?
By improving the disentanglement, the model can better understand which object is being dragged and where it should go, resulting in a more accurate and visually pleasing edit.
And what about the self-attention sharing mechanism? How does that work?
Self-attention sharing allows the model to maintain consistency in the appearance of the dragged object. It does this by using the attention features from the source image during the denoising process, which helps retain fine details.
That sounds quite robust. But what about the new diffusion anchoring technique mentioned in the paper?
The diffusion anchoring technique is designed to smoothly transition the object's appearance from its original position to the new location. It does this by interpolating attention features between the source and target images.
Can you give an example of how this might look in practice?
Certainly. Imagine dragging that cat we talked about. Initially, the model uses more appearance information from the source image, and as the editing progresses, it starts to blend in spatial information from the target location.
So it gradually shifts from the original look to the new position while keeping it looking natural.
Exactly. This gradual blending helps avoid abrupt changes that can make the edit look artificial.
Now, how does DiffUHaul adapt to real image editing?
To adapt to real images, DiffUHaul employs a technique called DDPM self-attention bucketing, which allows it to better reconstruct real images by adding noise at each diffusion step.
What's the advantage of this bucketing approach?
It prevents the accumulation of errors that can occur during the denoising process, thus preserving the fine details of the original image.
That's a clever approach. Now, how does the evaluation of this method work?
The authors developed an automated evaluation pipeline that assesses various aspects of the editing operations, such as foreground similarity and object traces left behind.
And how does DiffUHaul perform compared to existing methods?
DiffUHaul significantly outperforms existing methods, achieving higher foreground similarity while leaving fewer traces of the original object.
That's impressive. What about the user studies mentioned in the paper?
The user studies showed that participants preferred DiffUHaul over other methods in terms of overall edit quality, realism, and effectiveness in dragging objects.
This sounds like a big step forward in image editing technology. What are some potential applications for DiffUHaul?
Potential applications include digital art, content creation for social media, and even in professional settings like advertising and marketing.
But with great power comes great responsibility. Are there any ethical considerations we should be aware of?
Absolutely. The technology could be misused to create misleading images, which raises concerns about authenticity and trust in visual media.
That's a valid point. So what measures should be taken to mitigate potential misuse?
Implementing safeguards such as watermarking edited images or developing detection tools to identify manipulated content could help maintain trust.
Before we wrap up, Are there any limitations to DiffUHaul?
Yes, the method struggles with rotating or resizing objects and may have issues with colliding objects during dragging.
It sounds like, while it's a significant advancement, there's still room for improvement.
Exactly. Continuous research and development will be key to overcoming these limitations.
Well, this has been a deep dive into DiffUHaul and its implications in image editing. Any final thoughts?
Just that I'm excited to see how this technology evolves and impacts the creative landscape.
Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found this discussion informative and engaging.
Stay curious and stay informed. We'll catch you on the next episode of Vox AI News.